She literally got cancer off her chest. Please welcome Rebecca.
Thank you. Think back to 2021, not that long ago. And aside from the challenge that we faced together, what great things happened in your life in 2021? Can you think of some of those right now? Seeing some heads nod. The human brain is an interesting thing. When a challenge, a difficult one, shows up in our life, it can overshadow all those wonderful things that are happening around us and make them harder to see. But if we can't see those positive things, looking back and looking forward, then an unwelcome diagnosis will be the least of our problems. For me, 2021 was an epic year. It was a year of milestones, starting off with this one. I entered what I called my third act of life. That's an awesome way of saying I turned 60. And because I wanted to make a point that getting older can mean getting better, I published this graphic on that very day, February 9th. That's me when I was 6, me when I was 60. Took that picture in my living room after a visit to Perdona to get my hair done. My third act, my one-woman show for one day only. This was the year of threes for me. That was the first 3. The second 3 in my year of threes was we welcomed our third granddaughter, Madison. That would happen in November of 2021. So that was exciting to learn another granddaughter was on her way. The second, or third 3, I should say, the third 3 happened on October 18th of 2021. My husband and I celebrated the end of our third decade together, and this is us on our wedding day back in 1991. We visited the courthouse down in Everett, Justice of the Peace, after work, and in case you're wondering, my husband's name is Steve. I am married to Steve the plumber, who now works at CPI Plumbing and Heating. This happened on October 18th. That was a Sunday. Monday, I had a biopsy in my right breast. And having had one in the past, I thought this is going to be one of those, turns out to be nothing kind of things. But going back to that year of threes, a few days later, on Friday afternoon, at exactly 3:30, I got an email that said, "You have test results." That email came through this service that was brand new to me, called MyChart. Raise your hand if you know what MyChart is. And for those of you who do not know, maybe we can hear more about MyChart in our next segment on breast cancer today, compliments of Tammy from United Health. So I get this email, "You have test results," and is this kind of like the anxiety of getting a report card? Is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Maybe I should wait until my husband gets home. No, I can't wait. I've got to do it now. Click. That click took me to a pathology report, and amongst all of the many words that I did not understand, there were 2 that jumped out at me. The first was carcinoma. The second was malignant. Now we'll hang on to the story there, a little bit of a cliffhanger. And these are the 3 points that I'd like for you to walk away with today. These are my 3 key points for you. Number 1, when it comes to your health, be vigilant. You are your best advocate. Be vigilant. Number 2, myriad of choices when it comes to our health, from providers to procedures and what to do. But everybody's choice is going to be different because we're all different. Make the best choice for you and be at peace with it. No looking back, no regret. And number 3, accepting help. This was a big thing for me to learn. So going back to that word malignant, that big scary word malignant, I actually had to look this up because it frightened me, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't overreacting because sometimes I can do that. So what does malignant mean to you? I'd love to hear some definitions. What does malignant mean? Who wants to try?
Mal means bad.
Bad. Okay, right. Mal means bad. Mal in French is a French word. Exactly. So we know it's bad. And how about our healthcare providers at the table up here? They're not going to chime in because they know what it means. Okay, since I had to look this up, here's the Merriam-Webster's: tending to produce death or deterioration. Yeah, neither of those is good. Malignant carcinoma. Now, I had an hour and a half to totally spin myself out of control before my husband walked in the door. And I did a really good job of that, thanks to my brain. I saw my not yet born granddaughter celebrating her 5th birthday. Everyone's gathered around the table with party hats, happy faces, a cake in the middle, 5 candles. And just as she blows the candles out, my husband, Steve the plumber, clutches his heart and he says, "Gee, I sure wish your grandma Rebecca could have been here to see you turn 5. Everyone sighs and says, "God rest her soul." That's what I saw in my head. I was already dead, thanks to that definition, malignant. My husband walked through the door. I'm a mess, can't even talk, getting the words out. But by the next morning, I started to see the light, started to see some humor in my overreaction, and started writing it all down. Maybe it'll be a stand-up act someday. That's what I was thinking. But there's some really funny stuff in there. So here we go. We are now in the weekend, and my mother, do you have somebody like this in your family who is like really good at research thanks to the search engine of choice? Okay, so here's my mom, 83-year-old mom, just researching everything for every article, every research paper, sending one after another, and by the end of the weekend I was so tired and very confused, but thankfully, Monday morning I finally hear from a health provider. It's a nurse navigator at Skagit Regional who works at the cancer center. I answer the phone. I don't know where to turn. I don't know who to call. I don't even have a regular doctor. I have 0 doctors. I've been healthy my whole life. I have no history of breast cancer in my family. There was no lump, no nothing. And out of the blue. So she calls and she says, "Listen, we got you. You now have 4 doctors. You have a surgeon, a plastic surgeon, a radiologist, and an oncologist. All of their offices are going to be contacting you to schedule appointments." And I'll tell you what, how did I ever find time to work? I mean, somebody going through this, it's amazing how much time you spend at the hospital. Tests and appointments just sort of take over your schedule. It was just incredible. And I realized how fortunate I've been in my life not to have to deal with that up until now. It took about 6 weeks for them to get the picture. And on Thanksgiving, I get a call from my surgeon. This is following the MRI, and he said, "Okay, here's what we're looking at. Your cancer in your body, in your right breast, is about the size of a medium egg." So think about a medium egg, holding that in your hand. So let's talk eggs a little bit. Actually, let's talk omelets. How many eggs in a classic omelet? How many? 3. 3 eggs. Okay, yes, 2 if you're going on the healthy side. But 3 eggs. So basically he says, you have a 3-egg omelet breast. I mean, he didn't say that. I'm saying that. My breast is about the size of 3 eggs, okay? So he says, one of those eggs is bad, needs to come out, but they can't just take the 1 egg. They've got to get clear margins and all that. So they're going to take an egg and a half. How many eggs does that leave me? 1.5. That's not a good omelet. Who ever heard of an egg and a half omelet? No one. So I had a decision to make, an incision decision, and my decision was, take it all. I don't need it anymore. Then the next decision was, okay, if you're going to take this one, then what about that one? Because research shows that women are much happier with their bodies if they have some matchy-matchy going on, right? And as you age, what happens? Like, one's going to keep drooping down to here, and the other one's going to be perky up to there. I mean, that's just going to look weird, to tell you the truth. So I decided to let them both go. That was my decision, to have a double mastectomy and then rebuild back, not to Dolly Parton size, although I could have. They would have done it. I decided just a little bit bigger, because you know those things in my closet, having had the 3-egg breasts all my life, I had to have a pin right here to keep the thing together, you know. I could finally wear them with a little bit more. So that's what I have now. What do you think? Thanks. All right, so here's me, December 17th. It was right before Christmas, 2021. My husband left me for the surgery, and 12 hours later, he walks in the door to find this. They had to give me more drugs than the average person because of my metabolism, I guess. So I was pretty loopy then, but I'll tell you, when it started wearing off, I have never in my life experienced pain like that. Never in my life. And here's an example of how painful. I could not, with my 2 hands, tear a single ply toilet paper tissue. My husband literally had to do everything for me. And my husband, Steve the plumber, was an excellent nurse, as it turns out. My mother also came to stay with us, and it was so interesting because she came to stay because he was going to work, but we were snowed in. Remember this? So now both of them are in the house together, and they're like, every time I would go, I need something, and they were like, what can we get you? What can we get you? And they'd be like racing each other around the house to do the thing. I get to do it. No, I can do it. No, I can do it. And it's amazing feeling to be loved like that. So my mom stayed for a while. Remember that snowstorm? Remember how many days that was? It's a tremendous amount of snow. Lasted all the way through Christmas, almost to New Year, right? And we all got along. That was the most amazing thing. That was the most amazing thing. So she made these little snowball cookies. She's very proud of herself. As I'm lying there in the living room, you have a lot of swelling up here and tubes sticking out of you, all this kind of stuff. So I had to sleep in the recliner in the living room. And as I'm looking around at all the flowers people sent, in the middle of the night, I'd wake up periodically, see the twinkling lights that I'd decorated with for Christmas, and here's what I thought. I am so fortunate. I was overwhelmed with this feeling of gratitude for my life, gratitude that this is the hardest thing I've ever been through, really. I mean, aside from mental challenges, but physically, I've been so fortunate my entire life, and thankful for people who care about me and love me. And I almost opened a florist this week. If it hadn't been for the snow, I could have started a business here with so many flowers. So accept help. I'm not a person that asks for help. being a very independent person. Raise your hand if that's you. Very independent. I can do it, I can do it, I don't need help. But as I'm moving into this, I started publishing a few videos. Actually, it was a video series that went all the way through from the diagnosis through the second surgery as a way to educate people on this thing called breast cancer and what to expect if you have to go through it. So as I'm putting these videos out, I get a call from a friend of mine. Stacy's in Roberts. You might know Stacy. And Stacy says, okay, so I'm going to buy you during the week of your surgery. We're going to buy you dinner. There's a great Chinese restaurant, Fortune Restaurant. It's College Way, Freeway Drive. We're going to send over a menu. All you have to do is put your order in. We'll pay for it. Oh, Stacy, that's fine. My mom's coming, we'll be good, we'll be fine. And then I got the lecture. You don't know how to accept help, Rebecca. And let me tell you, when I'm offering you help and other people are offering you help, turning that help away hurts. You're helping me when you say yes to my offer for help. I mean, we've all been in that situation where somebody's going through something and like, I don't know what to do. How do I help? And it's awkward, especially when it's something like cancer. Oh, maybe they won't live. You know, it's awkward. So what I learned is to be specific, like Stacy. I reached this morning. In fact, this was a huge lesson for me. I'm like, can I, you know, if I just say something nebulous like, oh, let me know if you need help, or tell me how I can help. No, I'm going to be specific with you and tell you how I'd like to help you. It's going to be a lot harder for you to say no, and you're not going to get away with it with me anymore. Because I'm going to help you anyway. I'm going to help you. So to accept help. Now this was the very first video. We can't get the audio to play, but I'm going to play. Is it 20 minutes? Oh yes. Okay. So we're gonna switch browsers. We're going to go to this video, and because it has captions, I'm going to narrate it. So you're just going to look at the video, pretend like I'm talking, although I'm going to be talking here. That's how we're going to do it. Okay, we're going to start all over here. And that's all I have to say about that. So that was the first of 14 breast cancer chronicles. And if you know someone who has just been diagnosed with breast cancer, going through breast cancer, these chronicles may be of help. And you can find them on YouTube. All you have to do is Google Rebecca P. Murray breast cancer, and you will find each and every one of them. Going back to those three things, do you remember what they were? The first point to take today to, remember? Be vigilant when it comes to your health. I've been at the point where I put off mammograms for years. Don't do it. Don't do it. They found a little bit of an inkling, the mammogram in 2020, never told me, but what they found then compared to 2021 was the only reason they found what they did. So point number 2, remember that, what point? Point number 2, number 1, be vigilant. Number 2 is, what is it? Choices, your choice, your body, your choice. There was a book, Your Body, Your Choice, many, many years ago. Number 3 is about help. Accept it, be specific when you give it, because it's easier to receive it when you're specific and you're in control of how you give it. It's been my pleasure to share my story with you today. You've been a wonderful audience. Back to you, Monique.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.